There we go. We're
We're
live.
live, man. Man, it's been like a decade.
It's been forever,
Feels
and
like
we have no plan tonight.
zero
We
plan. Which
just wanted
means,
to
which means
chat.
it'll probably be the best one we've ever done. No plan.
Probably.
What's new with you, man? What's new?
Oh, what is new? It's the snow is still here a little bit in PA, which is insane. I think it will be officially gone this week because we're going to get up to like 60, 70 maybe. So it'll pretty much be gone. Finally, I haven't been scouting or doing anything. I went out to the farm once to get my cameras, and there was like 6, 7, 8 inches of snow, and I was like, yep, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. So like just adding so much weight and push to your feet when you're walking in the snow. I was just like, I'm not dealing with this, slipping down the hill and stuff.
You need to get yourself a pair of snowshoes up in there.
I know it would have been helpful. But yeah, so that is happening. I sold my bow and bought a new bow, so that's happening.
Oh, tell me about that. I need to know. I know a little bit about it, but tell me what first of all, what I guess what led you to getting a new bow? I know some of it, but why don't you tell everyone else why?
Sure. So I shot a Bowtech. That was the first bow I ever bought. I shot that for probably like 6 years, maybe something like that. And I really like that bow. It was like kind of like a pre-packaged bow, I guess you could call it. It had like the sight on it and the rest of, like when I bought it. So not like really good components, but it worked well for me. And then I decided like it was time to just get a new bow, and I got a Matthews. Like when I bought it 2 years ago, it was like their newest one. And I had never really been shooting like bows all along. So when I went to pick a bow, when I shot all the bows, they all felt like the same to me because they felt so much better than anything I had ever shot. I couldn't tell the difference between the bows. I was like, I shot the first one. I was like, this is awesome. Like I shot all the big names. I was like, this is awesome. And then I shot the next one. I was like, this is awesome too. Like I could shoot any of these bows. And I landed on Matthews because I just like their company, and everybody, even now, like everybody is jumping on the Matthews bandwagon. And so I shot that for 2 years, and I liked it, but I never felt like really confident with it. Last year, I switched to like a cut-on contact, big fixed head and iron will, and I just could not get it to fly right. I could get my field tips to fly right, but just not those bigger heads, and that's when it really gets into a lot of like technical stuff. But the grip is definitely different on the Matthews for me. It's a little lower on the bow, and I just don't think it was for me. Honestly, I don't have a lot of bad things to say about it. It just wasn't for me, and so I decided to switch back to Bowtech. They came out with a couple new bows that just was really, really impressed with, and decided to go back to them this year. Not a super fast bow, really geared toward hunting, but very tunable and a lot of good things. So I'm excited.
Dylan just coincidentally jumps on as we're talking about the new Bowtech.
Yeah.
Well, you're a Bowtech guy, so like again, nothing against Matthews. I mean, they make awesome.
No, they're great.
But you're going back to your roots, dude.
I am going back to my roots, and I'm excited to kind of go through the process of learning about kind of tuning my bow a little bit, and messing with some different arrow setups and different things, and getting to where just something I'm really comfortable shooting for what I do. And I'm excited about it. So
I'm excited for you, man, because I know last year was a struggle, and like I was telling you, there's nothing worse than feeling like you never feel 100%, but like a lot less than 100% going into the woods. And you know what I mean? Because like you just never want that.
Dude, trust me. I was talking to Dylan actually the other day, and I was telling him that. I was like, man, I haven't felt comfortable, like 100% comfortable with a bow in my hand in probably like 6 years. My first Bowtech, I had it for like a year. I dropped it out of a tree, and I took it to the shop, and they said it was fine, but it's still in the back of my mind, like, I dropped this 20 feet out of a tree. Like, is something wrong? When I started to shoot bad, is something wrong? I had some issues with that bow. And then with the Matthews, I mean, I could shoot well. Like, I could shoot my field points, a touching group at 40 yards. And for whitetail, that's fine. But when I put on, like, a fixed head, which is what I really wanted to shoot, it just wouldn't fly like I wanted. And I shot a mechanical last year, which... not going to get into the fixed versus mechanical, but I was not happy about that. I really want to shoot one of these bigger fixed cut on contact. Just all the signs that I'm seeing points to them being the way to go. And so I just thought it was time for a change again. And I'm definitely not one of those people that likes to change their bow every year. I know that there's people that do that. That's not for me. And I even felt weird selling my other bow because I had just got it 2 years ago. But I'm really hoping that this bow is something that I could keep for a long time. So we'll see.
It's awesome, man. Keep me posted.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted for sure. But what's up with you, man? I know you have a lot going on. You have a new member of your household up on the wall.
Oh,
right. We have that going on. You had a hunt right, this weekend. Let's take a peek.
So this is my Texas bow. It's bad. It's kind of hard to see them.
Yeah, it's not a good angle, but
it's like a terrible angle.
Yeah, we'll have to post some good pics.
Zoom in on them there. So, quick story about that. It's actually pretty funny because we were talking about how like I've never had a deer like scored before because honestly, and I know guys say that and they're like, oh, I don't care about the score. Like it's cool though. Like if you have a deer, I guess that is like worthy of scoring, but it's just a really cool like character. The character of the deer, the age of the deer. When I took him to, by the way, this is the deer I shot 2 years ago it was my first Texas deer, biggest buck I ever shot with the bow, and was on public land, about 1.5 miles in. The whole like you hear a lot of guys talk about putting in the work, putting in the time, making that like slight adjustment when you probably feel like you shouldn't, but you just go with your gut. It was like one of those days, and it all worked out, and ended up shooting them at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I just eat my lunch, like just the stories you hear about guys shooting deer at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's true, it does happen. But anyway, so I took them to the taxidermist. They got really backed up with COVID and stuff like that. That's kind of a whole nother story, but I literally just got them back about a month ago and had them scored at the taxidermist. And I don't know anything really about it that much. Like I know, Pope and Young is minimum 125, Boone and Crockett. I don't even know what Boone and Crockett is. I think it's 160 maybe.
I believe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought it would be pretty cool just to get an idea, right? So I had the taxidermist score them for me while I was there, and I like watched the whole process. He had the tape out. Bryn was there, my daughter was there, which is pretty cool. Like she had to watch the whole thing, and it was just a cool process. And he explained like everything of how he was scoring it. And this guy's been doing this for a long time.
Oh, I'm sure.
And guys like eyeball deer, and they're like, "Oh, that deer is whatever." And he said, "I'll bet that deer is between 135 and 140 gross." And I was like, "Oh," and I was like pleasantly surprised because I was like, "Man, that'd be awesome," So he scores them, and sure enough, he comes out with like 136 and change for gross, and then the net because there's deductions because he does have he's typical, but he's got some junk, so we lost some things. He has split brow tines and just some different things. So he's like, the net was, I don't know, like 129 or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, I can't wait. Like, I'm going to go get them scored at Pope and Young, because you have to call Pope and Young. You have to find somebody in your area that'll measure them. And then they give you, they certify it basically, and then they send in the paperwork. So I found this guy where I live, close to where I live. I called him up, dropped the deer off and everything. Like 2 days later, he texted me. He's like, when are you going to come get your deer? Your deer's done. He got measured. And I was like, oh, you're going to leave me hanging? Like, what is he? Texting him back. I was like, so did he make it? And he goes, oh, unfortunately he didn't. And I was like, what? Like, is that possible? So my first instinct is like, all right, so how long has this guy been doing it? Like, it's like Pope and Young certified score. And I'm just like, how can it be that far off? Well, then he explained the whole process of like how Pope and Young scores their deer. And the deer netted 115 or something, because they don't count the split brow tines, like they go against you. And so they're actually deductions. They don't count any of them. So like you don't get any brow tine score for Pope and Young if it's a split brow tine and it's a typical rack. However, if it's a non-typical rack, they would have counted them. So it would have counted for me.
Huh.
So it's crazy.
So weird.
Score it, right? But the guy was awesome. Like, he went over this whole thing. He's been scoring deer for like 28 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's legit. Like, he didn't make the book. And I was like a little bummed, or, because it would have been cool. But at the end of the day, like, it was cool actually just to learn the process of how deer are scored. But I'm going to do a video at some point and kind of tell the whole story about it. But yeah, hopefully that wasn't my last year, because man, this year was not good. This past year, I didn't see any deer at all. And the spot that I had where I shot this deer, I don't want to tell the whole story, but there's videos on our YouTube page about it and stuff. It's crazy how in 1 year public land can change from not seeing anybody else the whole year to just guys pretty much driving up to the spot. Like, it was crazy. So anyhow, funny. And then yesterday, or was it yesterday? What's today? Sunday? Yeah, yesterday.
Saturday. Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I would say my official first Texas pig hunt. Yesterday, I went out with a colleague of mine's husband. Took me to a spot. We went and did some pig hunting. Ended up seeing a bunch of pigs. I missed 2 pigs actually. I'm out there with my shotgun, Missed 2 pigs. Those things are pretty fast actually. Once they get moving, once they get rocking and rolling. I missed 2. We ended up getting 1. We ran into a bunch of different ones, so I have some meat that I have to process and stuff. But it's cool, man. It's a different kind of hunt. I mean, because you're basically just walking around like stalking, looking for these deer. Looking for these pigs. And it's just different, man. So it was cool though. It's something I could definitely get into it.
Yeah, it's a change of pace, and it's like, stalking something in March is weird. So that's pretty cool that you have kind of that to do really whenever, right? I think you do it whenever down there. So
public land,
close season.
Well, public land right now, so it's Army Corps property.
Okay.
And so this property you can't even hunt deer on. So the only thing you'd really hunt is pig, I think pig, dove, duck, rabbit, squirrels, like things like that. But you can't even hunt deer. You should have seen some of the rubs on this property.
Not bad.
We're looking for sheds and stuff. Didn't find any, but but most of the properties right now, any legal method to kill a pig, you can be out there. Even a lot of the public land, even now, you can hunt at night. Wow. You can go out at night with dogs on public property and hunt pigs. So it's wild.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. They don't like their hogs here. That's for sure. They do not like. They're an intrusive species.
Yeah, they are.
If you've never seen like an area where a whole bunch of pigs have been, I mean, it is destroyed. Like, I mean, tough to drive on. Like if it was, if they were on a road and they were digging up the road and stuff, like it's crazy when you see it.
Yeah. I would love to try that someday. Just something totally different. That's like, I don't even know what to compare that to really. It's just like totally different. But
we'll get you out here.
I'll do it someday. I'll definitely do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the things. I know we haven't been very active on things. It's been just a busy season of life, I think, for both of us. But we have been doing things. We're not just sitting here. We've been just kind of rethinking some things and thinking about kind of what impact we want Rooted to have and what does that look like. And I know many times for us in the past, it's been kind of a rushed process, I think. And so we've been trying to kind of just slow down a little bit and just make sure that it's the direction we want to go. And I think there's at least one thing right now that we're sure of that we want to do. And that is the podcast that we want to restart. Man, that is like one of my favorite things that we've ever done. And so I'm excited to launch that. But before we kind of dive into that, I need a shout out to our new graphic designer for doing all of our graphic design work. Recently hired. That would be my wife, Emily.
Yes.
Who designed our new podcast cover. So when you see it and it looks awesome, you can thank her, not us. So.
Yeah. And even though she is in the family already, kind of, you know what I mean? Like she had to prove it first. Like we didn't hire her.
100%. Yeah, this wasn't a gimme. This was you better come up with something, and she did. I think it's really good. Like
it is awesome.
It's like simple and it's good. So when you see the new cover, that's where it came from. So
yeah.
But yeah, why don't you dive in a little bit and just briefly speak on the podcast and what that's going to look like? And I'm pumped about it. I'm really pumped about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that, I agree with you. I think that's one of the things that I've enjoyed most that we've done. That was one of the first things we ever did. Yeah. And I think I go back to like some of the first guests that we had on and stuff. And I remember like reaching out to guests and going, oh, like this person will probably never come on our podcast. Like how would they? And like pretty much everyone we've ever asked has said yes. And if we didn't get somebody on, it wasn't because they said no, it was because we just couldn't make it work, time or something like that.
Right.
But it's been amazing for us because it's been a really good way for us to be able to start to build the Rooted network, the Rooted community. And we've had so many awesome guests on, and if you guys haven't ever tuned into the podcast, so we started to revamp it already, and it is live right now. And what I did was I put, I think there's either 7 or 8 of our like top episodes are in there. So I uploaded those in. So the guests, are like 8 top guests, that kind of thing. And so you can go check those older ones out, but like some of those awesome guests that we had on, and just awesome guys that we've gotten to know over the years and stuff. And so we wanted to do it again, right? But while we loved doing it and we loved interviewing and making connections, we felt like over this past year, God's been calling us to do more, not just with the podcast, but to really get clear. Like we've been talking to some friends and some other people and stuff like that, and just have been getting really good feedback. Like just some of the things were, hey, I'm not really sure like how to help you guys, or I'm not really sure actually what you guys do. Like, It's cool. I love the logo, right? I love the logo. I love the videos. I love this. I love that. But like, what do you guys actually do? Like, what is your mission? And so we'll be diving into that. Probably not tonight. We'll start talking about that, but we're going to kind of rebrand a little bit and just get really specific and clear on what it is that Rooted does. What do we do? And then what, Dave and I sat down and said, okay, so what do you love to do? Like, is it filming? Is it the podcast? And we each took a couple things. Hey, Steven, good to see you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, Steve wants to know how he can help. Yeah, I mean, we're putting some things together where I think we'll be able to be very clear as to how people can help us. And that was one of the big things for us. And in the beginning, I think I was like, oh, guys, don't worry about it. Like, but people do want to help, and they see us do like a youth turkey hunt or something. And so we'll be diving in deep onto a couple of the things. The podcast is the first thing. We also have done a lot of things in the past, and we're not going to do that. So we're going to get specific on a couple things and be really clear to make sure that our mission is part of each one of those things that we do. And Dave's going to use his strengths. I'm going to use mine. I kind of head up the podcast. Dave's helping out with a lot of stuff, but I'm kind of leading the charge with that. And the podcast, our main goal with the podcast is to to give a platform for those in the outdoor industry, whether they are famous on the TV show or not. It doesn't matter to us. People that really are in that outdoor space that are interested in telling their testimony, giving their testimony on the podcast, which we know, while it might seem like if you are on fire with Christ, that it's an easy thing to do. It's not always easy for people to do, especially guys. Guys are vulnerable. It's hard for guys to get vulnerable, and it doesn't have to be all guys. Our goal is not to have all guys. It's the guys, women, people in the outdoors to give their testimony. And we're going to talk hunting. There's no doubt. We're going to talk hunting. We're going to talk tips and things like that from those guys and gals that we have on. But we want to hear their testimony, and that's going to be really important to us. And so if someone's not willing to do that, it's not a negative thing, but we're not probably going to have that person on, because that's going to be the mission of it, is because we feel like there's no platform out there for a lot of folks to give their testimony. And it's really one of the ways I feel like we can show others in the outdoors how important it is, and how it's connected to literally their every single hunt they go on, and how they can deepen their relationship with Christ by going out and hunting and camping and fishing and all these other things. And so that's the goal, is to really just dive deep into some of these stories and bring them to you guys, and then continue to build the network through the podcast. Dave, I don't know if you want to talk maybe a little bit about kind of the layout, like what that's going to look like, like
the layout of
like that,
kind of the podcast, and what each podcast is going to look like.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously we'll do, Corey and I'll do kind of our typical update. We'll kind of get into a hunting topic of sorts. We're really be focused on whatever that person is known for or really good at, and dive into that for a small period of time. It could be 10 minutes, could be 20 minutes, whatever, but really dive in, get some hunting talk, because we have to do that. Like we love doing that anyway. And then give them a time to share their story, whatever that looks like. And to your point, we've talked to a lot of people in the hunting industry, in the community, and I feel like people really struggle with how to tie their faith into what they're doing. I mean, even we've struggled with doing that at times. And so I think giving people a really good platform to just share their story with others is a good thing. So hear their testimony, and then just have them share just some sort of a message or an encouragement to the people listening. And we'll just kind of dialogue about that a little bit, whatever that looks like. And then that'll pretty much be the podcast. So the plan is to, kind of go about it that way. I think someone just made a comment that they know somebody, and that is actually something that would talk about ways to support us. That would really help us if you know somebody who has a really cool story, or they're willing to share their faith. Send them to us, introduce them to us, or give us their name so we can reach out to them. We have a pretty good list so far that we think will be really good, but we're going to have to rely pretty heavily on our network to find people as well. But I'm excited about it, man. I love the conversations. I love hearing people's stories. There's a couple ones that we've heard at like game dinners and stuff over the years that have just been like pretty impactful. Like, which like, man, like I left there thinking like, man, what a cool story. Like more people need to hear that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I think the one thing too that's important to us is while we probably want to do one like every single week, we know that like with our schedules, running businesses, doing life, it's not feasible, and so we're not going to try and jam it in there. But we want to set like a clear expectation too, that people know what they're going to get every other week. They're going to get one or whatever it is that we decide to do. And then Dave and I will do some lives. We'll do some devotional stuff. The one thing that people have reached out and said, hey, when are you guys going to start doing the live devotionals again? As people really like that. Is Dave and I are going to do that. We're not going to do it every week though.
Yeah.
So our thoughts are probably to do maybe one a month, and then, there'll be some other things mixed in, but the devotional will be longer maybe. So maybe we do like an hour and a half of devotional type stuff, where it can come together also. Hey, Mike, before you know it, we'll be in the turkey woods. Cool. So we're excited. We're excited to do that. There's quite a few things coming down the pipe from us, but again, not so spread out, just getting focused on some of the things that we really we're passionate about and we feel like we can execute. I think that's the thing.
Yep.
And then just really, really, really clear ways that people can help our cause. One of the things that we are doing, probably the next thing that we're doing, is we have a youth turkey hunt scheduled. Yep. First one out of PA, so I'm pretty pumped.
Love it.
We have a youth that I will be taking on an Oklahoma turkey hunt on May 1st. I think he's 12 years old, and he's never hunted. He's always wanted to, and so we've got that going on. So we are looking for, if you guys know anybody that would be willing to maybe donate some calls or something like that, just to kind of get this young guy started on the right foot. I'm actually borrowing a 410 shotgun for him. We're going to go out. We're going to film the whole thing. It might be filmed a little bit differently because it's just going to be me, but we are going to film it. So we're going to make something out of it, and you guys will get to see it, and you'll get to keep it. So we're pumped about that. So first ever out of state, out of Pennsylvania youth turkey hunt. That'll be this year in Oklahoma. So that's
awesome.
Yeah.
The youth hunts definitely aren't going away. That's something that we are really passionate about, and I think that we even want to expand on as well. Maybe even help guide other people on how to do those. I feel like we've done a bunch of those. We have a pretty good handle on that, so that's something we're really passionate about. So, but I'm excited for you to get on that one. It sounds like a really cool property too, so that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's I believe it's 1,000 acres. It's private. It's just somebody that I connected with here in Texas that owns that property. There's a completely renovated cabin on the property that we'll be able to stay in. So it'll be a really, really fun weekend. I think we're going up on a Friday. We'll hunt Saturday and then potentially Sunday, because you can hunt Saturday and Sunday.
And
sweet. Make a weekend out of it.
That's sweet.
Let's see. Steven says he can help with that. Do business with lots in the industry. Awesome, man.
Yeah, that's good. We'll reach out to him.
For sure. I'll send you a message, Steven.
Last thing, I feel like we haven't talked about this yet, but the film festival. We haven't talked about that at all. There's some mixed emotions on the film festival, but
it was cool. That one off. Yeah, it was cool.
It was cool, man. I'm a little sad that it wasn't in person.
Yeah.
Because I've just heard so many stories of just like what it's like to be there, and like just a ton of people packed in a room and this huge screen, these huge speakers, and man, I don't know. But it was a really cool production, I gotta say. Like they did a nice job. And yeah, it was just cool to be part of and to get some exposure and get our message out there. So yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts. I mean, I have some other thoughts that I don't know if I want to share too much of, but it was a good night.
I thought it was a really cool experience. Obviously they get a lot of submissions. I don't know how many, but it's cool that their committee of guys and gals had got together and said, this one's going to make it for whatever reason. We don't even know why. It would be cool kind of to find out why they selected or what their criteria is and stuff like that. Which I thought was really cool. I think you probably know for sure, but I think out of all of the feature films and short films, we were the only film that was selected for the finals without a kill, without a harvest of an animal. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yes.
And I'm not like that's not. I just think there's something to that. Like I just think you know, the other films are great. I mean, they were. I mean, there were some great films. But I think for us to not have a kill or a harvest on there and still get in, I thought that was cool.
It
was good. I think we put a good story together and stuff, and it would be cool to be there, like at the theater, and who knows, maybe we will someday. I think here's the thing, dude. The thing it did for us, honestly, is that it was God nudging us and telling us, you know, you guys need to make short films. Like you need to make more of these. You need to make more short films because they're impacting people, and so that is going to be one of. But I feel like we are talking about everything we're doing, but that's going to be one of the things that we continue to do as short films. So
it was interesting to kind of just talking about, like, and video has always been a big thing of ours. Talking about, like, which direction do we go? What does that look like? Like, do we vlog? Do we make films? Do we do something else? And while we're in the midst of just, like, kind of wrestling with that and talking through all of that, like, we get an email saying, like, our film has been selected as a finalist for the film festival. It's just like, okay, like, I think we know what we should be doing, because I feel like we could even do more than that, like really create some cool stuff and stuff, you know, cool or not, stuff that just has a good message that means a lot to us. So I'm excited. I love doing that type of stuff, so I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten me kind of recharged on the short film type thing. In fact, after we watched, you know, the film festival and stuff, I was already thinking of, like, things I could do to help, you know, with that. So I'm excited. I know we kind of have an idea for the next one. That's pretty burning in your heart. It was a dream, right?
Yeah, I did have a dream. So we'll keep that under wraps for now, but I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool and be pretty impactful, hopefully.
Yeah. So. All right, man. Well, what else? You want some Charlie updates?
Yeah, what do we got with Charlie?
No, you want like a real-time Charlie update?
Both. What's the guy doing? Where is he? There he is. Look at that guy. He's huge.
Look what
Even next to his gun.
He's laying next to. Look what he's laying next to.
Oh, man.
Laying right next to the shotty.
It's so good.
I got to clean that thing after yesterday's outing. But
that's so good, man.
Dude, so Charlie was out retrieving today. So we are going through, if anybody's out there that is training a dog or, like, thinking about training a dog, there's this awesome online course called Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy. And it literally takes you from, like, right when you get your puppy all the way through to, like, having a finished retriever. And it's 52 plus. Well, they have a bunch of stuff, but I'm doing the 52 plus one. It takes you all the way through 52 weeks. And about 36 weeks, you'll have a dog that you can hunt with. And of course, there's a lot of work you have to put in. So it's 4 to 5 days of training. So it's been cool. It's been cool, man. He's definitely loves the water. Don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Loves to retrieve. Don't have to worry about that. Now it's just, we're just doing a lot of obedience stuff right now. Hopefully to be able to get him ready for later next year, maybe, you know, later in the season, but it would be really cool to get him out. But he's doing well. He's doing well.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, hunting with a dog is so cool, man. It's so cool. I just can't wait to get out there and hunt with him. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, he's not gonna have any trouble with birds. Like, I have feathers that I tape on a bumper.
Yep.
And dude, it's like cat for him. Like, I can't even get away from him. So
yeah, it's awesome.
It would be fun. It would be fun. So
it's good, man.
What else, man? Anything else before we head out?
I don't think so. I think it's been just good to just jump on here and updates, you know, that we're still here. We are doing some stuff, and, you know, the podcast will be coming soon, and we'll start doing one of these lives, which will be more devotional driven, once a month. Give some updates, do a devotional once a month, probably talk about some of our podcasts as well. But you know, the podcast is the big thing we're pretty excited about.
Yeah. Man, it was good to do this, man. I miss it.
I know. This is fun. I love doing this stuff and seeing people comment and interacting with our community. It's cool. I love it.
Yeah, appreciate it, everyone that tuned in tonight. And if you're watching this on a recording, we appreciate you and your support. And we'll be giving you guys some more ways that you can help Rooted Outdoors and how you can be a part of the Rooted Outdoors community and impact with us. That's going to be a big deal this year for us. So
yeah, for sure.
We'll be coming at you with some of that stuff. Everybody have a great week this week. Dave, have a great week this week, man.
You too, man. See you guys.
See ya.